I've just moved from Winnipeg to Hamilton, and I'm bringing with me some pretty cool stuff that I've had to practice over the airs in Winnipeg. Hi, everyone. I'm Andru. I'm actually a volunteer here at Cable 14, so thank you for seeing me today. I'm here to pitch you on a brand new show called Wake Up Hamilton, the tagline being waking you up to events and cultural affairs that are happening in our great city. So Wake Up Hamilton is actually a culturally based half-hour weekly show that will focus on current affairs, entertainments, events, comedy scene, music, and the arts. The premise of Wake Up Hamilton actually comes from Winnipeg, where I spent about 6 years broadcasting on UMFM 101.5 with a little talk show called Wake Up Winnipeg. It aired over 200 episodes over the course of about 2 years, and it was very successful and as a volunteer-driven show. So, the premise also has been compared to a former Cable 14 show, which you may have heard of, Urbanicity TV, with Martina Scalenzi. I was actually volunteering on that show, so I had a really great opportunity to get to know kind of what that show worked well and what didn't, and then was surprised to learn at the end of that season that Martinez wasn't renewing. So there's definitely a hole to fill, and I think the premise of Wake Up Hamilton will actually be to kind of fill that void, but also give it my own personal voice and explore with that. Wake Up Hamilton will actually put a spotlight on the people and power behind the city. Some sample guests could include musicians, bands, both locally and bands that are touring through Hamilton, politicians such as our mayor, city council, and members of our city planning team, comedians, because let's make it, everyone likes to laugh, artists, such as those on James Street South who go out on the the art crawl rather, excuse that little slip. Local business owners, so those showing people on maybe Concession Street or down on Locke Street, and as well as newsmakers, those people making the news, such as journalists writing for The Spectator or other local newspapers, and really giving that extra voice to their story. I'm not going to read through all of these, but these are just some of the previous events that we covered in Winnipeg, such as the Winnipeg Folk Festival, TD Jazz Festival, Winnipeg Fringe Festival, Comedy Festival. Had a really great relationship with Rumors Comedy Club, which can be compared to Yuck Yucks out here. And some sample guests that I've been able to secure for previous interviews also include Aaron Bruno, Tom Green, Steve Patterson, 3 Days Grace, as well as Classified, Joel Plaskett, and had a really good relationship with Winnipeg's Mayor Sam Cates, as well as Manitoba Premier Gary Doer. I'm going to show you now a little video of a sample interview with Brad Roberts of the Crash Test Dummies when he was coming through Winnipeg. Let's talk about tonight. I mean, you're back. You've got most of your original crew, minus one, as we talked about in the earlier interview. What's the feeling like around the stage right now?
Really, really good. I'm super excited. As a matter of fact, Crash Test Dummies' original lineup has not played together since, I was thinking about it today, since the year 2000 in the fall.
So it's been 10 years.
So it's been like literally 10 years.
Wow. So it's got to be neat. I mean, imagine the chemistry on stage tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun too. I mean, if you haven't played with a band for 10 years, I can only imagine what we can expect tonight.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
So in addition to being the voice on Cable 14 for Wake Up Hamilton, I am also a social media specialist by day. So I'm really going to be adding to that support through means of Twitter, Facebook, email blasts if possible, Castle compliant of course, as well as a website, email address, and phone. The name Wake Up Hamilton has actually already been secured on all of those social media platforms and are sitting there locked, ready to go, so we don't have to worry about chasing anyone down for them. We will be doing weekly blog updates and recaps, so after every episode I like to just generally write up a report, just kind of summarizing that episode, including any additional content behind the scenes stuff that we might not be able to fit on the show. And that's about it, actually. Do you guys have any questions so far?
Yes, I'd like to start. Okay,
Absolutely.
so Wake Up Hamilton. I was reading all my research and prepping for today, and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be this morning show that's going to be launching on Cable 14. And the title really throws me off, Wake Up Hamilton, until you started talking, and it was like almost wake up and see what we have here, right? So I think that the title needs, I know you've secured your social media, but I think it needs some work.
Sure, I'd be happy to discuss that with you guys if it's successful.
Yeah.
So you're a volunteer here, and I understand what you're talking about with urbanicity. Some of the ideas and suggestions you have regarding your show kind of already fall into what Hamilton Life is all about, Hamilton Talks is all about, and of course our new show with Darren Laidman, City Matters, is all about, where we interview politicians, where we do musical guests that come in. How are you going to try to be completely unique and different from what we are already doing here at Cable 14 to fit in our lineup?
I'm really glad you asked that, and I suspected you would. So the show, whether it be Wake Up Hamilton or something else, will actually be a little bit different in the sense that I'm going to be trying to go out as much as possible so that we're not studio-based as much. I'm also going to be focusing on opportunities that may have been missed through the other shows. So for example, when you mentioned that one of the newer shows is actually already talking to members of council and mayor, I'm not looking for it from the news angle point of view. I'm looking at it from the story behind the news. So an example would be when the LRT debate was happening just a few months ago, when Mayor Fred Eisenberger was on, it wasn't so much about the actual LRT or the logistics about it. It was what was the success that, or what successful results will Hamilton get out of that. And it's really about just being creative. I don't want to compare the show to any other shows that are out there. But if I look at my role models like George Stroumboulopoulos when he had The Hour, I want to kind of bring that vibe to it and also add a little bit more fun and personality and prep. And really demographic, the young 20s to early 30s, maybe those Torontonians who are moving to Hamilton to kind of wake them up to what's going on.
Now, you had mentioned when you were doing Wake Up Winnipeg, you had connections in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And it tied into something, and Urbanicity kind of being what you want to replace. Urbanicity tied into Urbanicity magazine.
Absolutely.
Do you have any connections or tie-ins in Hamilton that you are thinking of putting the show with?
Absolutely. I do have partnerships I don't want to discuss at this moment, but I'll just say that my full-time career gives me a lot of access to people that might be able to make those news connections. And fortunately, because of Wake Up Winnipeg, I've been able to keep in touch with a lot of those people as well. I really think the social media will actually back that a little bit more and give that extra push. And I'm willing to throw in a little bit of paid advertising as well if I need to kind of help boost that up.
How would you make sure that this show is always dated and always make sure that it is always topical?
Very good question. So I would like to film each episode generally a week or two in advance while keeping it, I don't want to say stale dated, but being mindful of what's happening, but not putting a specific time frame on it. One of the things that worked well with Urbanicity TV is that we filmed once a month, we filmed 2 episodes, and we already kind of knew what was beginning to make the news or what was beginning to happen. Then that way, when 2 weeks came up, that story was still topical. So it's not so much dated as much as it is relevant and still in the discussion form.
Do you think you have the time to do this weekly? Because that was your pitch.
So I was thinking about that. I'm willing to try it weekly, but I'm also willing to look at other angles as well to keep everyone's time considerate. I know that we're very stretched for resources here with volunteers, and so even though it was suggested as weekly, maybe we pitch like what we did with our other show. We film 2 episodes one time, keep that relevant, maybe once or twice a month. That way we're not actually having to use resources every week. So I'm open to changing that. Right?
Great.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you
very
guys,
much,
appreciate
Andrew.
that.
Thank you, Andrew.